Welcome to this edition of Hindsight is Horrifying, the show where three mostly normal and somewhat cynical adults discuss life as members of the TV generation. Now here are your hosts, Darth Jada, Jason Mitchell, and Adam B.
Hello, and welcome to another exciting edition of Hindsight is Horrifying, a TV show that is increasingly disconnected from its name.
I mean, where's the lie, though?
Remember when this used to be about watching stuff that we saw when we were kids and things like that? That was a long time ago.
I mean, technically, we've stuck to theme because we still do our Alf to Seinfeld measurements, but, you know.
I suppose.
We still talk into microphones.
That is true. It's essentially the same program.
We just rattle on.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about various woodworking tips tonight. Just kidding. No, we are continuing. Oh, no, we're not continuing a theme.
No.
This is not a theme show.
We're starting a new theme.
This is a standoff episode. It's a standalone. Yes.
I've been saying that every episode for the past,
several weeks.
9 weeks.
Yeah.
So, no, we are not continuing a theme.
Tonight, we're veering off course just a little bit.
Yes, this is a very standalone episode. And we've got a new guest.
Who is it?
I guess there's some guy that just came in and sat down. I got a little nervous.
Again.
Who's here?
Yeah, again, that's how you got on the show.
That's true.
And he just never left.
Like a bad rash.
No, we are happy to welcome to the studio our good friend Michael Drago.
Hey.
Who is, you might be able to detect on his shirt there.
Oh, not that way.
Yeah, that way, yeah. This is the guy that I have to blame for getting me hooked on scuba.
You're welcome.
It's
He could have gotten you hooked on way worse things.
Well, that is true. I've had other friends get me hooked on worse things.
Yeah.
So this actually is okay.
Such as?
It's not worth it.
Yeah, don't go there.
Yeah.
This
my
is
lawyer
Statute
says
of
no.
limitations is not up yet.
This is broadcast internationally.
So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
This is you'll find it to be a very relaxing experience. There are really no rules because I can edit anything out that I want.
That's not what you said.
But
to
he
me in the
doesn't.
Yeah,
bathroom.
but try to get a little closer to the mic if you don't mind.
No,
Okay, there you go.
I mind a lot.
Okay,
Treat
there
it
you
like a
go.
lady.
Get close, but not too close.
Exactly.
Well, that is kind of accurate. You spend all your money on it, and eventually it just craps out on you. So yeah, okay, yeah, all right, yeah, okay.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
So you see, we can edit that out. We're not though.
We're not gonna.
But because we, we have sort of a scuba thing going on, because now we have two scuba divers. We're still trying to get these guys
Sweet
certified.
Jesus.
It's going to happen.
We're landlubbers.
Hey, I already agreed.
You were Mr. Navy man, for God's sakes.
Okay, that's. I
All
guess
right.
I thought maybe they forgot since last week.
Because you never mentioned
I
it.
never mentioned. I keep it a secret.
Aren't you the seaman from Coming? My God.
Oh,
Look it up.
yeah.
No, but we wanted to do a scuba themed movie.
Yes.
And the thing about scuba in movies is that they don't frequently go correctly together.
Are you for
Not even
scuba?
a little bit.
Yeah. The what was it? The guys in MST3K, they called the underwater knife fight the drum solo of movies. And scuba's great. On film, takes a really talented director and a really good cast of high quality performers, none of which was present in this movie.
None.
Why don't you tell us what we're watching tonight?
Tonight, we are going to be watching 47 Meters Down, Uncaged.
I almost forgot to show you guys what I found this morning.
That's a shark tooth.
I am going to take you to a place that no tourist would ever find in a million years. Chance of a lifetime.
It's Mayan.
They made human sacrifices here.
There's something there.
How much air do you have left?
We're going to die down here.
Uncaged.
That's the.
Yes.
It's a very important
And it
differentiation.
also does not feature Nicolas Cage. So we're really uncaged.
Yes, and it is a sequel, and I have to confess, I never saw the first one.
You didn't
Me
miss
neither.
anything.
So are they connected at all?
No.
Okay.
No actors.
No actors, no
Nothing.
story, nothing.
I know that Matthew Modine was in the first one, and the only reason I know that is because the high school is called
Modine
let me go ahead
High
and bring
School.
up there we go. So everyone on X can see this. We like to
All these
play bits
bitchy
and
high
pieces
school
of the
girls.
movie, which we can do because we're on X now, not on YouTube. But yes, let's talk about how horrible these human beings are.
Yeah, they suck.
Who's our?
Ardently.
I'm gonna before we start really diving into it. I don't know the name of a single person in the movie.
You don't know John Corbett?
No.
Any of the characters' names. He can't remember them.
character names.
Oh, character name. I was like, okay,
didn't
you know at least
matter.
one of them.
Lacey? Is there a Lacey?
You have Mia and Sasha, who are stepsisters.
There's a Siri. No, not Siri. Alexa.
Alexa.
The rest I can't really remember. Like even John Corbett's. Okay, his name is Grant in the movie. Mr. Brown's fellow Sex and the City star, John Corbett.
We worked together a few times.
Then you have Mia, so the blonde girl, and her stepsister Sasha. And then, of course, you have Sistine Rose Stallone as one of the
Sylvester's
friends.
niece?
Sylvester's kid.
Is that really?
One of his daughters, I believe.
I looked it up. I saw no association.
Well,
so.
I can tell that
How many Stallones are there?
the raw acting talent was passed down.
Yes.
No, but I'm just going to say right now, I don't know anything. Like, I don't know the names of the characters. I know main girl and other girl and Asian girl. And then there was a fourth girl. I
Yeah,
think.
Sylvester Stallone is her father.
Okay, very good,
Am I
very
remembering that right? There were four, right?
There
There were four
girls.
girls,
That was
yeah.
it.
Well,
Okay.
there's a slew of them in the beginning because Mia gets picked on in high school, and you really just open the movie with the fact that Mia gets shoved into the pool of her high school by these horrible girls who love to bully her.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you were just watching Mean Girls, and then it turned into
Yeah.
an atrocity.
Yeah, it's Mean Girls with slightly more blood.
Yeah.
Just slightly.
Yeah, it starts off pretty, sort of a standard almost
Teeny bopper.
Yeah, teeny bopper movie where
Yeah.
you've got, teenagers and outcasts for some reason, and it's always nebulous. It's just they just don't like her for some reason.
And of course, there's family friction.
Yeah, family friction, which in this case is the fact that it's a blended family,
Brady Bunch.
Brady Bunch.
Without all the
Small.
good times.
Yes.
And I also want to mention that apparently this takes place in the Yucatan in Mexico, and not one person speaks Spanish.
That is a good point.
That's pretty typical of
Yeah, but there's
American-made
not a
movies.
single word of Spanish in the whole movie.
Nor a Hispanic person in the movie.
No. Well, and I love that they're all complaining about this horrible hellhole that they've moved to. I mean, look how awful this is.
It is terrible.
It's hell on
I
earth.
can imagine as a teenager just hating that. It would just be awful. Oh no, I have to go diving on the weekend.
Well, and so- But why do they live there, gentlemen?
I don't remember.
Because John Corbett's character, Grant, is basically an underwater archaeologist, and he's
right.
mapping
That's
out
right.
an ancient submerged city.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
That would
Yeah,
make
I
sense
remember
then.
the
It's
city
coming back
part.
to
I
me.
actually didn't remember that he was an archaeologist. I swear to God.
I'm not even sure if that's his actual title, but that's essentially what he does.
I promise you all, I did watch this movie.
But yeah, so before we fall down the rabbit hole too far, we've got two different synopses from Netflix and from IMDb, and one of them
And
is
this
just
is a Netflix movie, right? Like
No.
it's not.
No.
Oh, it's not.
No, it's just on Netflix.
It is on Netflix, though. Okay. At least
yeah, it
as
was
of this
Entertainment Studios.
writing. Okay, I didn't know
motion
if it was
pictures or something. But yeah, so on Netflix, the synopsis is two sisters, their stepsisters, join their two classmates on a cave dive to explore submerged ruins, only to find themselves hunted by a shark with heightened senses, which I take some argument with because the sharks in this
dumbest
movie
sharks.
It's
are a
blind.
notch above brain dead.
Yeah.
So,
That's
So
okay,
are the
though.
characters.
Yeah, so are the characters.
well,
yeah.
well, and spoiler alert, there's more than one shark because they toy with you on that concept for a long time,
Yeah.
thinking that one shark is torturing and chasing these girls when in fact it's like 40,000 of them
Yeah.
all in one place. But on IMDb, I found 47 Meters Down Uncaged follows the diving adventure of four teenage girls. exploring a submerged Mayan city. Once inside, their rush of excitement turns into a jolt of terror as they discover the sunken ruins are a hunting ground for deadly great white sharks. Now just known as white sharks, correct, Michael?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. With the air supply steadily
But
dwindling.
wait, they're not great white sharks, though. They're like some kind of...
They're translucent sharks.
They're like albino great white sharks. I don't know. They're whiter great white sharks. But with their air supply steadily dwindling, the friends must navigate the underwater labyrinth of claustrophobic caves and eerie tunnels in search of a way out of this watery hell.
Yeah.
Which is more accurate than the Netflix one.
Yeah, and we got to talk about the diving stuff.
Oh, Lordy. Bring it.
I mean, well, I think the first thing, and this isn't really a diving thing, but when they go out to the cenote and they just find all this scuba gear that apparently they had left for the next day, because that's what you do in Mexico. You leave your expensive scuba gear
Well,
out.
in fairness, Grant, the father,
Yeah.
said he was the only one who knew where this was, so nobody else would be able to find them.
That's right. The white
So it's
guy-
okay to leave your gear there.
Yeah.
It's white privilege.
Yeah. Well,
No one will find it.
You just use a term that I don't think our entire audience is familiar with. So what's a cenote for those not in the know?
A cenote is essentially a freshwater spring, usually located in Central America.
Okay.
But it has some level of brackish water where the salt water is coming in. So the plot almost makes sense that the sharks might have swam in at some point and then got stuck.
And somehow
but that's
survived.
about it.
Well, I think you could. Okay, I mean, like the cenote itself, obviously those are real. They are pretty mystical places.
Very much
They
so.
are.
In fact, we were talking before about the whole, the Maya believe that you're supposed to make an offering, you're supposed to ask permission to go in, and if not, you can get yourself in trouble. And actually, that was an episode of Expedition X. We were talking about that before. They actually did that. They did the whole ritual thing.
Yeah, when I was in Mexico, we didn't have to do it. Really.
Yeah,
They were like, let's just go dive.
drink some tequila and hop in.
That was about right.
Yeah, all right. No, but but there is sort of a, there's at least a basis in some kind of fact that there's a mystical connection.
Okay.
That's fine. It's actually a really, really cool setup and a really cool setting for a different movie. Like if it was a straight horror movie and it wasn't necessarily, about monster sharks.
You put Jason in the woods.
Yeah.
It would have been pretty awesome.
Or like, it's like, it is the portal to the underworld or something like that. It could have been, but I think it was the setup for a movie that was not this movie. Because the whole shark angle is very weird.
Well, and you have so many weird setups. Like they try to make Mia sound like this diving prodigy because John Corbett even goes out of his way to explain, oh yeah, youngest diver I ever dove with, she was 10 years old. And then she's one of the idiots that takes that used equipment and...
Well, she doesn't remember much from...
It was years ago, you guys.
Well, and the weird thing is that it's actually pretty common for kids. What's the minimum age? Is it 12?
10.
It's 10. Okay.
It's 10.
Yeah.
So I was actually in my great notes that I took at about 10 minutes in, the dad said, yeah, you were great. You're like the youngest diver I've ever seen dive at 10. And I was like, wow, that's actually pretty good.
It is good.
I was like,
it is
hey.
good. Yeah. And she could have been certified.
She shouldn't have been.
No,
but-
she shouldn't have been.
But we're talking about the most realistic movie of all time. So,
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? She might have been.
Well, and as a movie, it is weird because it's only about hour and 26 minutes, I think, is what it was.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, give
Yeah.
or take if you take
And
the credits.
It was too long.
It has
Regardless.
it has so much padding in the beginning.
Oh, God.
There is so much padding, which is unnecessary. This whole
Like this
sequence,
car ride right here when they're on their
This-
way to the submerged city.
this is like James Wynn level of bad directing. Where it's, hey, if the audience doesn't know how they got here, they're going to be confused.
Well,
we
you-
have to
you
show
didn't
them
put-
driving.
But you didn't put the video up when we first started. And I had in my notes the longest, quietest, unnecessary intro ever to a movie.
Yeah.
It was dead quiet and random walkthroughs a cave, walking through a cave.
I think that was supposed to build tension, but
It didn't.
It didn't. And then it immediately goes into the silly part with him pushing her in the pool. And it's like, okay, well, if there was tension,
That's gone.
You just lost it.
yeah. So basically, you have a traditional sort of teenage plot setup where you have they're supposed to go one place, but it's lame, and so in order
Which
to
isn't it? It's
no,
not
it's not.
though.
It's really
So, yeah,
we're old.
Grant, that's true.
That's true.
Grant buys
Yeah.
the girls tickets to go watch great whites feed in the wild, and that's pretty awesome.
I'm
in my
fucking
book.
there, man.
But
No two ways about it.
well, another deterrent was that Mia was going to wind up on that boat with her bullies from school, and her badass sister or stepsister are their two friends who are one of them's dating Grant's assistant,
don't know any of
Carl, because he's got two. Yeah, he's got two.
Carl.
Yeah,
No,
there's-
I'm just saying I don't know any of this.
well, to your mention as
and I'm not going to tell you how I remembered which girl was which because. And wait, we're forgetting a very important point here. Mr. Brown, how old is everybody? Because I know you look.
he knows just off the
There's
top
two
of his
words to
head.
describe them all. Too young.
Okay.
That's how old they
Jailbait.
are.
All right.
Yes. 17 will get you
20.
20.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yikes. Zoink scoop. But yeah, so Grant has his two guy assistants, Carl and Ben, and Carl is dating one of the jailbait girls who
That's beautiful.
oh it is. But
Not the
Thinking
girls.
someone had a drone. They just wanted to try out their drone, and they were just flying it all over the place in this thing.
But,
oh man,
uh,
that'd be awesome.
I mean, I have my drone in the car. We can test it out.
Oh yeah. Fly
and
me
of course
over
you
that
have
place.
the jump off the cliff moment into the unknown depths of water.
Now you said this was filmed in the DR.
Yeah, so they actually filmed this in the Dominican and on a soundstage in the UK.
Huh.
So nothing
Nothing
in
Mexican whatsoever.
Mexico.
Are these Dominican cenotes?
Apparently, but they're in the
Oh.
Yucatan, and apparently, that water's give or take about 72 degrees. So these girls are champs jumping in there with no wetsuit, no nothing.
And they got like the really, really, really expensive radios for their face masks. I mean,
Yeah, because even at the Georgia Aquarium when we went diving, I could barely hear our dive instructor.
It's like
Barely. And I don't know if it's just because I don't know. I wasn't used to the system, but did anybody else have an issue
no,
with
I
that?
could, I could hear, but it's very obvious that you're, I've seen enough Josh Gates to know what it sounds like.
And I'll also tell you that, they didn't even push a button to talk.
Right,
So
right.
the whole time you should be hearing their breath. But no, none of that.
Well,
It
there
was
were a couple of
pristine.
issues, technically speaking, throughout the movie. And I think that was one of the least of our problems. So.
Wait, I just realized too, did they bring wetsuits?
They're in the box and they just happen to be perfectly fitted and a shorty.
Despite the fact that it's their dad's equipment.
Correct.
Well, Dad's a little, come
Yeah.
on. He gets out there, he's free.
It's 2023
Oh, my.
now.
He can be himself out there.
Oh my. But yeah, so the girls decide to swim to the first cave in the city because Carl, one of the assistants, has shown his girlfriend that one cave. And so she's trying to show her girlfriends, hey, check out this submerged city. But then,
Yeah.
of course, terror and
Yeah.
awfulness ensues.
Didn't we all do that when
Naturally.
we were teenagers?
I mean, I
know?
do this like at least once a year.
Yeah. It's again, teenagers do foolish things, and that's why we make movies about them.
No, I thought a cenote was like a body of water
Uh-oh.
under some limestone, right? And when the limestone gets worn out, it just collapses in on itself. How is it formed?
So it can be like a lot of the ones in Mexico were above ground caves. And then as the water levels started to rise or shift,
okay.
they flooded and then became.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So then a city or town.
Yeah,
or a little-
theoretically.
could be there. Yeah.
That's what happens in Florida. They have this. It's amazing how complex the cave system is throughout Florida. You can go cave diving, like swim under streets and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But what happens is, when the farmers are irrigating, they'll drop the water level, and when the water level goes down, all of a sudden that rock isn't supported by anything, and kablooey. And so that's why in
Sinkhole.
Florida you're getting those big sinkholes.
Yeah.
you
Yep.
know.
According to the internets, a cenote refers to an underground chamber or cave which contains permanent water. In other words, it is a natural sinkhole, like you said, Jason, where the ceiling of the cave has collapsed.
And personally speaking, as someone who doesn't really like cave diving because it scares me, there's just watching this in the beginning, even though it's a cheesy horror movie, just the whole time I'm just like, get out.
Oh, the
get
anxiety.
Out, get
God,
out.
yeah.
Get out. I don't care if there's a shark in there. Get out. And I've done, I did like, the springs. You go under a rock, but that's about as far as I can go cave diving. I'm not chicken when it comes to claustrophobia.
So being in open water with a shark is less scary to you than cave diving?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, for some people, I'm sure
me.
that's not the same. Like they would prefer the cave. So I don't know.
No, I used to have the cave diving itch. And then when I did the cenotes in Mexico, we did a first dive where we'd pop up in different, springs and talk about them. And it was cool. Then we did a full hour-long dive. And after that 2 hours of my life, I realized how much more freaking rock could I look at. I got so bored. And I was done. I was like, never again.
I think a lot of those guys, it's like trying to penetrate deeper in and going places you're not supposed to. And
napping and doing things.
Yeah. And that's cool.
Doing
but that's for
things?
somebody
Just
else.
doing things.
Yeah.
They have a task. They have a mission,
Yeah.
a goal. Just to go dive it for fun, I was bored out of my mind.
Okay.
Yeah, and as far as the shark thing goes, I'd much rather be in the open water with a shark because sharks don't scare me when I'm underwater. Like when I'm underwater,
You've said this before, and I don't really understand it.
It's a shark. It does. It's not, for me, a shark is scary when I'm on the surface,
And you don't know where.
and
it is.
that's
ready
that's
to
when they're
nibble on
scary.
you.
Yeah,
Nibble. You make it sound so polite.
Well, you saw a few nibbles at the very end when they're
Yes.
trying to get out. It was pretty little nibble.
So the girls take 78 minutes to somehow they manage to take 78 minutes to get their gear on and still not do any safety checks or anything. And I'm just
And they didn't even make out or have one pillow fight. I was very
one.
disappointed.
And,
Yeah.
and I just want to butt in because what they just showed
The air
was
gauge?
So
Yeah, let's
So they're
talk
like-
about the air supply,
they're like,
please.
everyone check your air, which is like, oh, that's a great idea. You should always start your dive checking your air. And they just say it's at 100%. My question is 100% of what?
How long is that
Right?
going to last you exactly?
Yeah.
So for those that don't dive, if you take one breath at the surface, how many breaths are you taking? One. If you go down 33 feet, you've doubled the amount of pressure. So if you take one breath, how many breaths are you taking? Two.
Yeah.
These people are at 47 meters. You do the conversion. That's
Yeah.
154 feet. Their air is going to last them about a minute at the rate that they're breathing.
Yeah.
But
And yet they're down there for like 4.5 hours.
Yeah. Well,
So-
their tanks, if you look, they were actually manufactured by the same company that used to make John Wayne's revolvers.
Or,
and those
you know-
guys are good. They know their shit, man.
Or the planes from Iron Eagle.
Yes, the
They can
planes from
hold an
Iron
entire
Eagle.
arsenal.
Yes.
But yeah, and the second mistake, these girls go scuba diving that deep without flippers.
and
No
so-
fins. No fins.
at all.
Yeah.
And I'm amazed there's zero
Fins,
silt.
sorry.
Or very little silt.
After they specifically mention, like they say, don't touch the bottom, you'll kick it. And then there's no silt at all anywhere in the movie.
How perfect. It was like it was filmed on a soundstage.
Oh, yeah.
Now, there are fish who live underwater that can scream at you, but there's no silt. And there are multiple reasons why I hate that fish. Not only because it can scream,
You're fishy.
No, Nicole, I wouldn't.
so what did they call it? It was a Mexican tetra. And actually, I looked it up. It's a freshwater
Yes.
blind cave fish that possesses the superpower to roar underwater. Though the second part's not true.
Now
but-
remember though, these are freshwater until you hit that saltwater layer.
Yeah.
But
So
where-
it could have been a tetra in freshwater.
and some animals have evolved to, exist in salt and fresh water.
You're really giving the movie too much credit if you even bring that up.
I mean, he just brought up the
No, I
Please don't pull your back reaching for that.
Oh God.
No, the as far as like the cinematography goes, it's shot in a pretty way. It's like I always say, there's still, no matter how bad the movies are, you still get an army of very talented people.
You got to respect that part of it, though.
Absolutely. Look at the people who made the set. I mean, I don't care how bad the movie is. It looks good.
Well, and what's funny to me is that, like, if they had eliminated the dialogue between the girls, the movie would have been way more intense.
I actually had that thought if they had not spoken, if it had actually been like they
A silent film?
a silent film just with atmospheric sounds, that actually would have been pretty fucking scary.
Because the dialogue is partly what ruins it. Like,
Yeah. Well, and the acting quality is about B-tier
Abysmal.
porno actor. They literally act with the quality of porn actors.
That's why I was waiting for the pillow fight and the makeout, and it never happened.
Hey,
You and your jailbait
that gives
fantasies.
me an idea for a picture.
Dig it up.
No,
Are they doing a Mandingo too?
take
Give
me,
me a
Cassius.
Take me, John Corbett. Anyway, so yeah, the girls finally.
It's well lit.
It's
The
very well
lighting
lit.
is
That's
fantastic.
what Jason was saying. That
Yeah.
everything about it is great except for the people in it.
Yes. Well, and the sharks.
And the
people
brain
in-
dead
The
sharks,
people in the
God.
sharks.
But riddle me this: it's so well lit they couldn't find their way out, nor could they follow the cables connecting those lights from somewhere
Well,
to get out.
Those
they
are
follow one cable, but it's
Well, no, it's just a little nylon
Yeah.
dive line, and then it
well,
was
that's how they're mapping the city, isn't it? The
right.
the
Yeah,
archaeologist guys
Yeah, they ran a reel, and that's just that. It's not to map it; it's that way they can find their way
find
out.
their way back there.
But I mean, the light cables had to go somewhere
yeah.
to run the lighting.
okay, don't break your back reaching for that logic either.
Magic movie lights that only we can see.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just like in a House on Haunted Hill, how the candles lit up the entire
So
house.
that switch that they flipped to turn them on, that didn't exist either.
Yeah,
No.
they
Oh,
did,
forgot about that.
They did turn on lights.
and despite all these lights, despite
Boy,
however many,
what the fuck?
this movie just keeps slipping through our fingers as we logic our way
But the
through.
set looks great.
The set looks great. I'm trying. I'm literally trying, movie. Come on, give me something to work with. No pillow fights, nothing.
There's solar lamps.
Yes.
That's how they
There
From
you
Home
go.
Depot.
And despite all these magnificent lights and despite how much time John Corbett and his team have spent down there, this is the first time you actually discover the sharks.
Right. No one
Some
died
crazy
until
freaking how.
these bimbos hopped in there.
Right.
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 Well, yeah, it is really a movie about how a few young girls get a lot of guys killed. Because that's really what happens.
And
They go,
themselves.
"Hee,
Well,
let's
because-
go. I don't care about that.
And that's a perfect analogy for life.
Yeah,
So-
seriously.
Well, not just the guys themselves. So
Yeah, but I don't care about them.
that's a good point because it's the 3 guys and the 4 girls, and the death count is ultimately 5 people.
Yeah. And no sharks.
Yeah, not a single shark dies, which is
Yeah.
rather
In the filming
atypical
of
of a
this
shark
movie,
movie.
I think
Yeah.
that was a part of the credits.
Yeah. But
Well, it's hard to kill CG.
Yeah.
But it is. I mean, it's, kind of, I'm trying movie.
Well, and how many tens of thousands of years has this been around, and just one nudge just collapses the whole place? That kind of surprised me a little bit.
And
Well-
then it silts out to where they can't find any.
Yeah.
So
Well-
no silt until they knock the
Yeah.
statue over.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Yucatan does have hurricanes, right? That is a thing that
Occasionally.
it does happen. Okay.
Yeah, every
and
now and
wait, and earthquakes also.
Mm.
Yeah.
But nothing like the
Where do you think the
elbow
cenotes come
of an
from?
attractive woman
Yeah.
to take down an entire civilization.
Scared of a tetra.
Hey,
I
a
think that's
roaring
gonna be the name
tetra.
of your
I'd be scared shitless
autobiography.
of that.
A screaming tetra.
Well, the screaming fish is actually they somehow managed to make a screaming fish that was more stupider than Jaws the Revenge. Which was the original. Well, no, wait. Did the shark in Jaws 3 in 3D, did it scream?
No.
No.
No, that one was at SeaWorld and was well behaved.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one in Deep Blue Sea roars when Tom Jane shoots it in the head.
Yeah, but they're like
with a trank.
They're like genetically engineered.
That's true.
like-
They do have superpowers.
They got a whole
unlike
they got a whole cryptocurrency scam they're running on the side.
their identity thieves.
This whole eating people thing's just a goof.
Yeah, you want to put this on the screen because this is when they.
Well, and the one
Scream.
similarity you do find between this movie and Deep Blue Sea is John Corbett's, spoiler alert, his death, because he's one of the 5 in the death count. He's the one who Adam was saying off camera, you think John Corbett's going to lead us out of here? Oh, we found Dad. We're safe now. Hell no. John Corbett goes out super hard in this movie.
You're fishy, fishy, fishy.
Oh my god! But yeah, they're sitting there just spouting off all this knowledge because Mia's the only one who knows anything about anything when they're scuba diving and about any of the animals that are
Yeah,
underwater.
why did they go through like days of training? She just taught them in 5 minits, and they were fine. I mean,
and finless.
yeah, that's true.
So really efficient.
Yeah, super efficient. This movie is so terrible.
it's pretty bad.
But
Who
I
needs
love it.
fins trying to outrun a shark? A
Yeah.
blind shark.
Well,
I did jump a few times when I was all by myself watching this in my office, and when that fish screamed, I jumped.
He was texting me about it. He was like,
I
"Holy
jumped.
crap, that scared the hell out of me."
I jumped hard.
But,
yeah, there were some jump scares, and you know, a jump scare is that's the easy scare.
Oh, it's very easy.
Yeah.
Agree with me.
you know, as all three of the gentlemen in this room have experience with scuba diving, let me ask you this: as they say in the movie, is scuba diving just like riding a bike?
Oh,
They say,
no.
they're like, Mia, you haven't done this in 7 years. Come on, it's got to be just like riding a bike. Show us how.
Well, I also love when they say, "Take off your mask and hold your breath."
Yeah.
Which is the worst thing you can do
And
ever. as a
never got
scuba-
bent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So great job to them.
Yeah, well, these guys are. I mean, they're obviously pro, like peak athletes.
They are.
I mean, this is high end stuff. And it is interesting because I was trying to see, would there be a brand name visible?
Yes,
Is there? Because I didn't spot it.
it is. It's on the power inflator of the BCD. It's an aqualung.
Okay. Because I was wondering, like, did anybody put up any money? And
Jethro Tull clearly did.
yeah, Jethro Tull did.
Put
Yeah.
a lot of money into that.
Let's
yeah.
see what the budget for this film
All right,
was.
so they-
$4.
So they made no. I bet it was a pretty fucking high.
$3.50.
Yeah, because 47 meters did do well enough.
And what's the premise of the first one?
That you have people going on a vacation into a shark cage dive,
Mm-hmm.
and then the crazy not blind sharks attack the cage. Then they just plummet to 150 feet with no barotrauma at all. And then they're under the water for another hour and a half trying to figure out how to escape the shark.
Does it end with them rocketing to the surface?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my god.
And not embolizing whatsoever.
None.
And at
Okay,
that depth,
so
they wouldn't care at all because
they would have drowned.
Oh yeah.
And nitrogen narcosis too, right?
So neither movie is really
Being-
known for its strong sense of logic, is
I
what
mean,
I'm hearing.
I guess if you got to go, being narked would probably be a pretty good way to go because the crabs just start talking to you and you're just
Oh,
hanging
yeah.
out. And then all of a sudden, it's like, hey, Jesus, when did you get here?
But yeah, apparently, so this sequel film grossed $47.6 million against the $12 million
Yeah,
budget.
I can see it.
respectable.
Yeah.
Very respectable.
Well, because shark movies, no matter how bad they are, they're a huge draw. Audiences
Well,
want to see them.
I mean, a budget that low, with things
It
like
explains a lot about the
yeah,
sharks.
I mean, with things like Netflix, especially, you can distribute a movie that only costs you $12 million and make money on it.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Now, if you're Disney, yeah, wah, wah. Did you all see the numbers for the Marvels?
I heard it was low.
47 million, which is actually interesting. That was the number I heard, was 47 million on 200 million production budget and 100 million marketing budget.
Don't talk about my marketing budget.
So on that note, we are coming up on our first break. Oh,
Okay.
wait, do we have something here?
Oh, yeah. This was the
Silt.
great part where the shark at the end of the cave starts to attack it, but then the front of the cave collapses.
Yes.
So when you figure out that dynamic,
These
please let me know.
sharks are smart, man. They
This-
like no architecture.
They're
and stuff.
tenacious.
This and many more brilliant points to come after our first break, hindsighters.
We'll be back in about 1 second. And we're back.
Hello, dear.
Excellent.
And we are-
So good to be back.
Michael's evening of impressions.
Yes.
We are still watching 47 meters down,
Ugh.
Unchained.
Hey,
So
you
Uncaged.
subjected us to this bullshit.
No,
so-
Unchained sounds sexy.
It does a little bit.
apparently it was supposed to be
chains,
called
whips.
something else. There were a couple-
48 meters down? I mean, that had to come up.
Yes, the film had two previous titles: 48 meters down and 47 meters down. The next chapter.
You see, that would have been awesome if they had called it 48 meters down, because then you would have to have had a character go, where are those girls at? They're 47 meters down. No, it's worse. They're 48 meters down.
wait.
Hey, that's the name of the movie.
The next chapter, that was probably when they were thinking about doing an actual sequel. Because
Yeah.
we've talked about this before, where you'll have a movie that does well, and
Sharknado.
yeah, but you'll have a movie that does well, and so people say, well, we want a sequel to it, and we need it kind of on the quick side because there's a little hype, so we want to ride that. And I don't know that this happened in this movie, but they'll just kind of look around and go, do we have any other shark movies? And is there a script somewhere for a shark movie? Oh yeah, we do. We have this one. What's it called? No, now it's called 48 meters down.
Right.
And they'll just sort of. Actually, with this, they didn't even have to reconfigure it because there's zero connection.
Zero.
Huh.
Totally.
Yeah.
None.
Same director, Johan Roberts, I believe.
Okay. So there's some continuity.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
And as far as I can tell, there's not going to be a third one.
Yet.
Yeah, yet.
What year
Let's
was this
see.
made? That's something
2019. Or it came out in 2019.
Oh, okay.
Well, so, I mean, there's still time.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? I mean, there's.
I mean, if they could make a sequel to Top Gun 30 odd years later.
So you're saying
There's
there's a
no-
chance?
Yes.
Yes, that is true. If this movie was in the same universe as Top Gun, quality-wise. No,
What are you trying to say, Jason?
Yes. Okay, so we've moved ahead to a scene that I genuinely just kind of checked out on. So
Why? Because of the underwater welding?
You made it this far before you checked out?
I was trying. I was honestly trying. I was going to give this movie every chance I could to because I like low budget schlocky horror movies.
That's true, you do.
You know?
Normally, it's not that much of a leap for you.
This one, I think I've gotten to the point now where when it's an all CG monster, I don't care.
And it's the slowest moving monster you can possibly imagine. And so they say it at least once that the shark does have heightened senses. And it gives that illusion at first because you don't realize that there's more than one shark. And so it just seems like this monstrous shark that can't make its way through certain parts of the cave is just magically appearing to sort of haunt the girls like a horror movie. But then you discover there are a bunch of sharks.
It's the Michael Myers of sharks.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But the only real heightened sense that the shark has apparently is its sense of smell. Because it's blind and it lives, in an underwater cave, so it can't see. It's albino, just like a lot of the animals in the Mariana Trench.
It would feel the electricity, when something moved by.
It still has ampullae of Lorenzini, doesn't it? Like,
I guess.
one would assume.
I mean, but even
Once again, too much credit.
Yeah.
But sharks need to eat a lot of food to be sustained, don't they?
Yeah.
How many human beings happen through this cenote to keep those sharks so fat?
Yeah, because the biggest fish in there besides the sharks is the tetra.
That's the only other.
Yeah,
that's the only
it.
other animal you
That's it.
see.
Fish budget.
But
very small.
realize, these sharks are all opportunistic feeders. They're lazy. They go for the easy kill because they don't want to work hard for their food because of the amount of energy that they expel for it.
Well, that's why they, they'll hunt down some whale fall whenever they can find it because that's a massive amount of calories and, not much output of energy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of makes me think of the Greenland shark?
Mm-hmm.
The ones that live like 500 years or
We just now discovered how to age them. I think the oldest one right now is like 450
Yeah, it's like
something years
wow.
old.
It was already old. It was old and had many children by the time the Declaration of Independence was signed.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, it was but they're virtually blind and they live in, fairly cold, confined areas and things like that. And they just evolved to eat whatever kind of what they can find.
Because
Yeah.
they're blind too, but that's for different reasons. They're these parasites that actually
That's
devour
right.
their
That's right.
eyes.
They eat their eyes.
And
It's fun.
they're saying she's about a 5-meter female between 272 and 512 years old, according to estimates. So yeah.
Yeah. So the girls eventually are rescued, so we think, by men.
As they should be.
I mean, yeah.
Naturally.
So they go off and get themselves in trouble. The men
Yawn.
show up, but then all the men die. They all get killed.
They all
trying-
died
It is
pretty hard.
2023, so
Yeah.
you cannot have a man star
I
in
guess.
a movie.
I guess.
Especially if he's white.
Oh, here we go. This is the most unnecessary and drawn out
Well, this was
slow motion.
from like the Christmas film, right? Where the terrorist falls backwards.
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Also known as Alan Rickman.
Yes.
That guy.
It just wasn't coming. Sorry.
They,
but
in
they
peace.
let her go on 2 instead of 3 and scared the hell out of her.
Which, by the way, they missed the opportunity. She should have been decapitated when her head was hanging
seriously.
in the water.
Yeah.
I was actually watching it going, all right,
come
here it
on,
comes. And
please.
no,
No.
you're not even going to give that to me.
No, well, it is a PG-13 rating.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
don't know how that happened. I mean, it should have been rated R just for how bad it was, but here we are.
Yeah, seriously. Well, I mean, make it R and make it more of a
Not CGI.
yeah.
More pillow fights. I don't give an R rating.
Love of God with you and your pillow
I
fights.
love pillow
Jail
fights.
bait.
This is going to be motion picture history. Cinema's first underwater pillow fight.
We're gonna do
It's an Olympic sport
How
now.
can they make out with those masks
Respect.
on?
an
See?
underwater
With the full face
porno
mask.
with
Yeah.
sharks.
Yeah, trust me, there's a version of this movie that exists.
One can only hope.
Yeah, porn is like a parallel universe for every action. There's this weird porn,
What is that?
reaction.
Rule 47?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You mean
yeah.
meter 47?
Well, yeah, Rule 47 down.
Yeah,
Uncaged.
holy shit! I guarantee you, it's out there.
Yep.
I guarantee. you it's out there.
4.7 centimeters in. That's the porn version.
Okay.
Swank scoop.
All right, let's go.
Ew.
So I also want to point out that no matter how deep
Yes,
they
thank
are
you.
in this cave,
He's backing me up on this now.
I got
Proceed,
you.
sir.
I got you. So no matter how hard and deep they get in that cave,
Jesus Christ.
they
Move
have
on.
not equalized once.
No.
They're just lollygagging through. Everything is great, and I'm
And
just
for
sitting going,
non-scuba
man,
divers, what is equalizing? Because y'all
That-
are throwing out some terms that may not be familiar to
that
those in the
is
audience.
equalizing the pressure between your inner and outer ear. Because the deeper you go, the pressure on the outside of your ear is greater. So essentially, your eardrum or eustachian tubes are bending inward.
There goes
and
John
you're
Corbett.
equalizing it to come back out.
Yeah, and it hurts like a bitch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you just have to sort of. I want to dive, so I'm just going to experience this pain real quick. And it doesn't hurt. Some people, it doesn't bother them at all.
Equalizing hurts you?
Oh man, my sinuses are all messed up, and when I do it, my right ear, it's like somebody sticking a knife in my ear.
Ooh.
Yeah. But how about when you're coming up?
I
Does it
think
feel
you're
good?
doing it wrong.
Huh? No,
What?
Oh, I love coming up, and it's like one big ear
The
flatulence.
semen and coming loves coming up. Got it.
from
You'd
how
think you
far
would
down?
love going down,
No, wait, no,
but,
that's when you go down, right?
No, when you go down, you gotta
So you
hold your nose.
Well,
You gotta
he was
hold your
a-
nose when you go down.
He was a submariner, so he went down for like 2 years at a time.
Well, it's because he goes down longer
That's true. That's true.
Wait
And
a
with a
minute.
lot of other men.
This is taking a bad
in
turn.
a big shaft.
I'm sensing, and I'm the victim here.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Is that red light behavior?
You bet it is.
Ooh.
Well, we're yellow light, but it's getting reddish.
Now,
He loves
somebody,
it when it
somebody
turns
red. Check it out.
explain the emergency beacon because I literally by this point I didn't even.
I have no idea, but that's your red light beacon right there.
Yeah,
There you
That's-
go.
Wasn't that how the archaeologists summoned one another if they got lost or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. So, all right. So what we didn't really cover. So that sound, you can't tell where sound's coming from underwater. It's called diffusion. So,
What?
I know.
Yeah.
So,
Get out of
so
town.
sound is traveling 4 times faster, bouncing off of every, molecule in the water and every little thing. So they're like, yeah, this light goes off and has a siren, and then you can find the missing diver. How? Because you have no idea where it's coming from. And her dad was listening to music while welding
Yeah.
underwater.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
And she
listening
goes,
to Roxette's Got the Look.
yeah. And then she has the audacity to start going, Dad?
Yeah.
Like he could just
Like,
hear
I
over
know.
his music.
I know. It's it's
It hurts.
I'm trying, movie.
Yeah.
I am really trying.
Well,
I
and plus,
do like the red light on the shark. Looks cool.
like you
It's,
said, the cinematography is pretty rad, but
Yeah, this
They
was for
should have
that
been
fear
playing
moment.
Edgar Winter with the white sharks, right?
But how'd it get so dark? They're still in
Wait,
the
what?
Edgar Winter. He's
You're
an
my
albino.
favorite.
He's an albino.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. the
Dun,
Edgar Winter.
dun, 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 dun.
well,
Right.
and plus this is almost like an unintentional callback to Jaws 3D where they're like, oh yeah, the sharks won't bother us because we've got this fancy bubble
Yeah.
screen and sharks don't like bubbles.
Yeah, if only-
Whereas apparently this noise is supposed to deter the sharks, but it does not.
If only the force ghost of Lord Slappy Fist, bang your
Lord Slappy Bottom.
Slappy Bottom. If only he could come in as a force ghost and tell everybody, well, you're all gonna die.
No, Mario Van Peebles swims out of one of the ghost
Oh,
sharks.
that's what this movie needed. Mario Van Peebles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that was what saved Jaws the Revenge.
Yep.
And I would normally say Batman
Swear to me.
because that's what every movie needs. This is a thing. Find me any movie that would not be improved by the addition of Batman. It's impossible. Every movie is better with Batman.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Name one.
Bruce Wayne's got him the money to get him out of there. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly. But I think Josh Gade should have shown up, paraglided in and, rescued him out,
I'm still trying to figure out what direction this current is going because
Dude, where the fuck is this current coming from?
750 miles an hour, and
It's an underwater cyclone.
it's going out, around, up, down, and it makes zero sense.
And meanwhile,
Yeah.
the girls' bubbles are just going straight
Yeah,
up.
normal.
Well, that's because the bubbles aren't CG and it's really expensive to
Oh,
delete
shit.
those. So they
Yeah.
they just have to leave those in and put the swirly stuff around it.
Well, and it turns out that's the way to the open ocean. So, but it doesn't make any sense. So you think the girls have escaped because we're reaching the end of the movie now.
But look, she's about to grab her ears as if she's in pain. See
Yeah, I
she didn't equalize, but then it just doesn't explain anything. Like it made zero
Well,
sense.
and okay, so what's the body count so far?
We've lost.
3,
2 men.
4.
Okay, who's
I was about to say
left?
4. We've lost 3 men, 1 girl.
3 men.
So there are 3 girls left.
And it's the 2 sisters and other girl.
Yeah, but then
But one of the
This-
sisters just got swept away.
Yeah.
swept away. So you think she's dead, but she's not. But then their friend takes off
Yeah,
her
you can't
mask
remember.
and ends up no, she ends up drowning.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I can't remember if her mask gets ripped off, like the shark
No, the shark I
tears
think-
her
I think
equipment off
had-
or something.
Had her tank or something. She had to get
Yeah,
out.
she,
Yeah, and
he
she had to
the
take the
tank,
mask
so she
off.
took off all of her gear.
And then
then she
started
took-
screaming underwater, and then
And plot twist, you don't have fins, so she can't go anywhere in this current, and now she drowns. Yeah, it was,
Okay.
it
It was a
beautiful.
surprise. I thought for sure she'd be rescued.
She threw the heart back into the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if she'd had a little pony bottle on her, or something like that, there were, but no preparation.
Or she had a 30-06 rifle. She could have shot the tank in the shark's mouth and blown him up.
Yeah, blown it up. Come on, that's the most forgivable movie mistake ever made.
And we're back with Mythbusters.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. It's like, we don't care, Spielberg. It's okay. We forgive you. They were breathing
You
hydrogen.
son of a bitch. Boom.
Oh, yeah. See, this is why you plan your dive and you dive your plan.
Yes.
No
And this-
safety briefing.
And this isn't totally wrong. In a current, if you're close to the bottom or at least close to the wall, the current is lighter.
Yes.
So that was accurate.
Well, it's got
someone's
that going.
phone is going off.
Yeah, apparently, I'm getting a call from work on my day off at 6:40
I hate it
p.m.
when that
Don't
happens.
answer it.
I'm talking about these CG sharks. Leave me alone.
So, as far as I'm going to try to do a serious, as far as a movie goes,
Mm.
well, the acting is terrible. The dialogue is awful.
Mm.
The music was present. I think there was music. I don't
Yeah.
actually remember the
There was
music.
underwater music.
was underwater-
I
yeah,
remember
okay.
that.
It was
And
not a
it-
Howard Shore score.
Yeah,
Well, because while you're wet welding,
Williams,
you've,
no.
No.
you've got to be listening to some rock and roll while you're wet welding.
Yeah, that's what I always do. I always like to be as distracted as possible whenever I'm welding underwater. That's just my thing. That's just how I do
My question
it.
is, why are they welding?
They're because they were putting in metal things.
Yeah, I saw that.
To what end?
They were getting prepared for these Europeans to come over and tour the cave so they could display it to everybody. So they were getting the lighting put up and a way for people to go visit these Mayan ruins built in catacombs with skeletons everywhere.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
you can't tell me there aren't people out there who would go for that.
They would. I think the Mexican Board of Antiquities would probably have stepped in at some point and said, no.
Well,
But
not
they
in this
weren't
movie
present
because
in the
nobody speaks
Yucatan.
Spanish.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Even though it's the same word in English.
No.
No.
How do you say doctor in Spanish?
No,
Doctor. But yeah, so the other girl's about to eat it / drown
Yeah.
Yeah, big
So-
mistake. You let all your air out at first, and now you're.
and scream
Yeah.
underwater.
Well, panic sets in. Does she get eaten or does
No.
she just drown?
She just drowns.
She just drowns.
As far as we see.
And
'cause-
face it, drowning is a good way to go.
Which is lackluster. It's a terrible
says
way to
who?
go.
No, it's a good. You just breathe in, you breathe out, and you think I can breathe underwater, and then you go black out.
He's got plans for himself,
Wow,
evidently.
really?
What?
Do you need a toaster as well? Or
That's only if you're in the bathtub.
I keep telling you not to give us B-roll for the documentary that we're going to have to make one day, okay?
Seriously.
No,
I was a Navy diver, and every Navy
What?
diving class, has a near drowning victim.
That makes sense.
And I interviewed a few of them, and he said,
research,
for a
right?
moment, I thought I could breathe underwater because, it's the pain in your lungs from the carbon dioxide. The second you breathe, the pain goes away.
Oh,
But you don't black out right away. So you're like, I breathe in, I breathe out. It's like, I'm Aquaman. And next thing you know, he woke up on the side of the pool and he was getting mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
So, was that Jason
Lordy.
Statham?
No,
Because Jason Statham, I've seen it. He can do that underwater.
Was it David Carradine?
He was doing something else. We left him alone.
When you were diving,
Ew.
yeah, his gear always showed up. All the straps were messed up.
Nothing but lemons in his supply.
So,
Yes.
so when you were in the Navy, when you were diving, like, what did you guys operationally dive, or was that something you just qualified for, or?
Well, it was scuba. It wasn't deep sea. So we did some minor underwater work, some like using wrenches and putting pipes and things like that together.
Okay.
And some underwater diving. But mostly it was, we would swim along and the instructors would attack us underwater. It was pretty exciting.
See, that's just the non-classified stuff.
Yeah.
They don't do that in
And
dive ventures,
and we
do they?
also had a couple guys embolized too, because
Really?
they shot to the
they went straight up to the surface.
They shot to the surface and they did not breathe.
How deep
They didn't
were you?
trickle breathe.
How deep were you down? When
We're 14 feet. We were down
47
14.
meters.
47.
Yeah, no,
Clearly.
it's 14 feet. But they just, we had a decompression chamber right there. They just throw them in the decompression chamber, take them down to 130 feet, and they're fine.
Walk it off.
Hey,
sailor,
Bill, fire
walk
up
it
the
off.
decompression chamber. We got another one. Yeah, drag that last guy out.
No,
Jesus.
the scariest thing when you do a civilian dive, it's like, well, where's the decompression chamber? It's about 400 miles south. It's like, we're diving without a because Navy divers have a decompression
Oh
chamber
yeah, no,
there
you
at all
don't.
times.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
there's.
if you don't do anything stupid, you should be the chamber.
I know, that's so true.
Gives me a lot of safety knowing that our servicemen are just going to embolize and
Lord.
no problem.
Well, you have to remember though, this was back whenever they were using the big copper helmets, and
Like
there
on
was
Scooby-Doo.
there was a guy cranking.
We had
on
the
a
big,
thing up
we had the
there,
big regulators, like, sea hunt.
Hey, I have one of those.
Yeah.
Back when they had muskets,
All right. Okay. Enough of that.
We're gonna
Let's
stop
move
picking on Mr. Brown.
All
He's
right.
sensitive.
I am sensitive.
But yeah, so here's another huge error in logic is that, okay, the sharks managed to get into the cave, but the only way into the cave from the open water is that underwater cyclone. So, but you get sucked out to the open ocean. You don't get sucked into the caves. You get sucked out to the water. Like, so what? How the hell did they get
the
in
ocean
there?
kind of goes in and comes out, right? I mean,
Yeah,
most
it's a good old
currents-
surge.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
they can shift, but
Right.
But remember,
But at that rate, that was
I mean, that was just
yeah, but remember also that
Sharknado.
the sea level
Underwater.
has apparently risen like 100 fucking feet since the Mayans built this thing.
global warming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously, man.
It's been a while.
That's why they're just white sharks and not megalodons.
Oh, that's true.
They should have had megalodons. That would have been better.
No, that was another movie. That was the Meg.
A far superior movie. I
I
love the Meg. I'm sorry.
liked the first one.
I
I couldn't
loved
sit
it.
through the second one.
I enjoyed every second of that movie. And that's the thing. I will go on record. I will publicly state that I loved the Meg, and I really enjoyed the Meg too, also.
I
Not
know
as
you
much.
did.
Not as much. So when I say I was giving this movie every chance,
He's not kidding.
I mean, I was really, really. I've never thought, God, this movie needs the acting ability of Jason Statham to save it.
well, if Rainn Wilson had made an appearance, I guarantee you it would have gone up a few points.
I don't know. But
I just don't know how the shark get in there. He can't fit through any corridor.
no.
So where is the
true.
real entrance?
Well, see, and that's why it would
The
have.
cyclone, that's what I'm saying.
It would have been a better movie if it had been supernatural. You know,
Like a
Because-
ghost shark.
Yeah, some Mayan
supernatural
demon
being.
thing that, oh, it's not really a demon, it's a shark, but then it's like it does. Yeah, I mean,
It's
Just-
like a Quetzalcoatl shark.
yeah, just something that would be
Nice.
a little bit more than just constantly, okay, we're trying not to get eaten. We're trying not to get eaten. What's on the next page?
The-
Trying
yeah.
not to get eaten.
You turn the page, you wash your
Yeah.
hands.
I don't know.
But you're right, though, because there's got to be some sort of supernatural quality to them because there's no food supply.
There's no food.
And there's
no,
like 10 of them in that cave
yeah, and like when I saw the
or in the different
yeah.
portions of the cave. I don't know.
I don't know, but my fat ass would have been stuck right here. I just
Oh, I'd have been dead so long ago.
no. That's when you just take your gear off and push yourself through.
Well, that's
I mean,
what I was
That's what
saying.
she did,
Hop
isn't
off
it?
the tank and slide it ahead.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just the thought,
claustrophobia
God.
kicking in again.
Such anxiety.
No.
And then, of course, the girls do make it out to the open ocean. And what's out there, gang?
Actually,
what's
I
next?
was actually okay with that.
Were you?
I actually thought the fact that so to answer your question, they get out of the cave system and immediately find themselves in the area where they're chumming so that the tourists can watch the great white sharks feed.
Is that on the boat they were
on the boat
supposed
they
to
were-
be on?
Yes.
And on top of that, great white sharks, they might travel through the Yucatan, but they don't live there. So what
Yeah,
tourist is going to go watch a feed
Yeah.
for these sharks that prefer colder water?
Well, the great white is its movie's magical shark. You know, I mean, it'll just. That's why, like, at least with Deep Blue Sea, they had the decency of making
Using
them.
Makos.
Well, and they were genetically engineered. There was something behind it,
No, you're totally like because
as opposed to this where it's just, well, how the fuck?
well, same thing with Shark Night because there were no
God, Shark
alterations to those sharks. Well, it's funny. Josh was saying, yeah, this movie's almost as terrible as Shark Night. I was like, oh, I don't know that I agree with that. I think Shark Night's a better movie.
Shark Night was more entertaining.
Okay, there you
Shark
go.
Night was definitely more entertaining.
But-
it was dumber.
Yeah.
I mean, it was way the hell
Well, it was
dumber.
better because Ted was in it from
Yeah,
Schitt's Creek.
Yeah,
But-
but it was like it was fun, and the acting was. They actually had some good good performances in there for a movie like that, and it was written funny, and
But in this movie, at least the sharks maybe have more of a motive for trying to hunt humans because, like we said multiple times, there's no food source for them in those caves. Whereas in Shark Night, you just throw a human in the water, and instead of going after any animal in the
Yeah.
bayou, they hunt the humans
If they
specifically.
just turn left,
Yeah,
they could have
I
gotten the
know, I
land, by the
know.
way.
I can't turn left.
well, and it is the same old trope with making sharks look like just
Man-eaters.
complete fucking psychopathic man eaters, and it's like we were talking before the show. I mean, we don't taste good, we don't really look like food. I mean, when you're on the surface, you kind of do. But
When you're splashing around, yeah, because
Yeah.
apparently the line of thought behind that is that they mistake us for seals. But
Or,
That-
or a
that's-
sick fish
yeah,
that you're in distress.
Yeah.
And
but I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding typically with a great white, it's going to do an exploratory bite and then just start
That's a lot of sharks.
swimming around you, waiting for you to die.
Well, yeah, but that exploratory bite, you're
Oh,
just
yeah.
gonna
Usually
bleed
enough.
out.
yeah, yeah.
especially when you're a 110-pound white girl and a shark takes your leg off in one go.
Yeah, but they get bit up pretty good, and they're fine.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah.
just okay. Going back to Deep Blue Sea, I remember you
I
saying
thought
how
when there was blood in the water. I said, "Oh no, it can't be that time of the month."
Oh God,
That was my
damn.
first
Jason.
thought.
I mean, Adam, for the love of God,
Hey, don't bring my
no,
name into
I
this.
know. See, she defaults to Jason, but I didn't know they were chumming. I thought, "Oh my God, what's going on here?"
they're throwing buckets of
Yeah.
fish bits in the water.
Are you pooping blood?
Yeah.
Well, she
Oh,
got-
we are in Mexico, so
And this dude with his earbuds in and no one on the surface of the boat, like looking into
Well,
the
they're
water.
all. There's nobody else on
No,
the surface. Everybody's
no
below
boat
deck.
crew.
No, there's
the
no
boat
one.
crew's just like, yeah, fuck it. We're just
Yeah.
gonna,
they're
who
drunk
cares?
down in the hold.
Yeah, because that's the problem with this movie is that there's not a sufficient amount of crew on the boat.
well,
Sharks have eyes.
it is a problem with the movie where, like we sort of talked about this when we did Texas Chainsaw Massacre. People doing things that no human being on planet Earth with a functioning brain would ever do. But in
Well,
a movie,
otherwise
they,
you wouldn't have terrifying movies.
yeah, but the price you pay is that you got to work for it. Like with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they worked for it. Yes, people are doing dumb things, but you've got all this other stuff that makes up for it in the movie. In this, it's just a series of really bad decisions.
Series of
that-
unfortunate
that
events.
that gets a lot of people killed.
No, but just like in Deep Blue Sea, I remember you pointing out the fact that it takes the sharks less than 2 seconds to chomp through everyone else except for LL Cool J, who's in the shark's mouth, the largest shark's mouth, for like a full minute, and all he has is like a nasty
Yeah,
gash on his leg.
yeah.
Like these two girls, they both get the shark grabs them full stop,
Oh,
like
yeah.
takes them
The
in its
internal
mouth.
damage.
Oh yeah,
But
and
when did they swim down?
I don't know. I don't
they
know.
were just on the surface, and all of a sudden,
but it looked as though the sharks got them moments ago, and you thought, "Oh,
No.
they're gone."
no,
Yeah.
they're fine.
No, but they were swimming and they suddenly went under because
Yeah.
the sharks were coming. They were actually swimming down to knock on the,
Wait,
on the
and
windows.
here comes the boat crew, right? They're
Yeah,
all
now
like,
there's
oh
a
my
million
God.
of 'em.
Wait, and only one person's going to try to help him out of the water.
Yeah.
And then you have torpedo sharks.
That launch themselves into the air.
And Yeah, I mean, this whole thing is just.
You know what it needs? It needs another unnecessary slow motion.
Here it is.
Yeah.
I mean, just all right, audience, you're gonna have to sit through this. And literally, this is bad filmmaking 101.
Yep.
Okay. If you have to do this, you probably cut something out earlier that you shouldn't have cut out because your movie's too short now.
The best scene's coming up right here.
So in the water.
Well, because you have to have, the full circle of the sisters getting along at the end because
Oh yeah.
But
There's-
here's her lightsaber
And slow
flare
motion.
Wait. Look at that. Interstellar.
How awesome would it have been if she had just hit her in the face? now her face is
And
on
wait,
fire.
what recoil?
I know.
well, all I could hear
And
was
look, you can see like the you know what?
all I could hear was Archer yelling, "All right, number of shark shot in the freaking
new personal
face."
record. And so they're saying
The movie's almost over, except nope.
No. This time it's time for the other girl.
Gotta
Slow
get them all.
motion.
bullet time.
God, this movie is so god awful.
What am I going to do?
Chomp,
thank
Pummel
chomp.
it in the face.
Luckily, I have a megalodon tooth
I know,
in
can
my
you imagine-
hand.
It was a
Like-
great white shark tooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, which her
And-
dad gifted her in the beginning, right?
Yes.
What
Okay.
goes around
Yes.
comes around. That's what I said.
Now that was accurate.
Yeah.
It was a white shark tooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean that was but apparently that to the eye was enough to get this thing to leave her alone.
Hey, that's what Preach did in Deep Blue Sea. Just stab it in the eye and it'll let you go.
I mean you gotta fight a shark with a shark tooth.
Yeah.
That's what I
You've
carry
gotta
one
be-
every time I dive now.
Yeah, you've got to be a cold motherfucker to be like, I'm going to reach in my pocket, ignore the pain, ignore the, my kidney just went, but that, ignore, I think that was my pancreas.
My liver just
you know.
lacerated.
But at this moment right here, you'd think that the captain would already have this thing in gear going.
Yeah.
They're not going to treat them for shock, and they just sit in the open
Yeah.
water, bleeding out on the deck. And so, really, I'm just upset that there's no closure.
But they're hugging. That is the closure.
No clothes. Sure.
I have no closure.
And comeuppance because she stares that mean girl in the face.
And what a prime moment for a pillow fight.
Seriously,
I know.
just
you guys.
grab her face and just plant it on her, All right, well, there's a...
And they're not biological sisters.
No, they're not.
They
No,
can kiss.
they're absolutely
They can
not,
kiss right
yeah.
here.
Oh, Jesus.
Come on, they're wet.
Adam,
Perfect. It's perfect.
enough.
That
See,
you-
look, open mouth.
Oh, so close.
Come on, just a little further.
You guys are the
Waiting. Oh, roll credits.
clutch my
You'll
pearls.
have to buy the Blu-ray and see if there's maybe like an extended
deleted
cut.
scenes.
Yeah,
I wonder-
they're still hanging out. The motor's not even going.
They're fine. They're good.
They
They're
got
good.
everything. They had a doctor on them.
All right, guys, we're going to finish up the tour. If you want to watch the sharks feed.
I mean, these guys paid for their tickets, and you guys just interrupted the entire
Well,
process.
live by the Google review, die by the Google review. That's how it goes.
Stupid
Leaving a
games.
terrible review on Yelp.
Seriously.
Travel advisor
Yeah.
or trip advisor or whatever.
0 stars.
Holy shit,
for-
you're right. They are just absolutely fucking sitting there.
Well, they ran out of money, so they didn't have a license to be operating that boat. But they wasted all the money on the CGI.
I guess.
Would have just given 1 million more. They could have gotten
they could've-
gas to get to land. These people are
And
still
look at the
sitting there.
movie that's up next in the queue after this.
Oh, yeah, Mars Attacks.
Mars Attacks.
That's a good choice.
God. Okay, so we are officially at the end of the movie. Roll credits.
That's good.
We've got to do a couple of things before we sign off. And first of which is for you to tell us why exactly you chose this train wreck of a movie.
And thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, you're
oh,
welcome.
so much
Thank
fun.
you.
You're welcome. It was free on Netflix, and
Perfection.
that was just the perfect reason.
Mhm.
But there was so much bad with it; it was worth doing. That's the real reason.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
And then next, of course, since you are a new guest on our show, we're going to introduce you to the Alf to Seinfeld scale, which is our unique scale on this show where we measure movies not by whether or not, we like them necessarily or if it's a good movie per se, but Seinfeld is at the top of the scale at a 10 because when you were a kid, that show was so boring and dry and you just couldn't sit through an episode of it. And now you're like, oh, I do hate that guy who chews too loud in the other cubicle. I love this show. It's brilliant. So that's why Seinfeld's a 10, because you changed perspectives on it since you were a kid. Whereas Alf, you thought it was the funniest, most brilliant show on the planet when you were a little kid. Then you grew up and realized it was a dumpster fire. So a 5 on this scale is actually a perfect score because that means it didn't get any better, it didn't get any worse. It's just the same as the first time you saw it.
So it's basically a scale of how it held up.
Yes.
Yeah. If it held up really, like if it's exactly as enjoyable as it was the first time you saw it, that's a 5. If it now pains you to watch it, that's a 1. And if we got better, and we have had a lot of those that have matured with years. And if you've never seen the movie, it's a straight 5.
Yes.
Yeah. So
in that case.
Yeah, straight 5.
Straight 5.
Oh, no, I've seen the movie before.
Oh, you have seen it? Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
I saw it a couple of years ago when I was in Gatlinburg. My cousin
In the
Bart.
movie theater?
No, at the Airbnb where we were staying. We watched it on TV, but...
Were you fighting with pillows?
Okay, so Michael, what do you think as far as the Alf to Seinfeld
I thought we weren't going to talk about your
scale?
fantasies anymore.
Sorry about that.
I am going to go with a solid 2.5.
Oh, yowza.
Wow.
Oh,
didn't even round up or down.
Yeah.
No.
So that means you've seen it before and it got worse in your eyes.
Yeah. I watched
Can you tell
it
us
when I was.
why?
It's because we were here.
Yeah, because we made the experience so
No.
bad.
I don't know. I thought all the pillow fighting mentions would at least up the score for some of you guys.
No, it got even worse. And when I was watching it yesterday before coming on today, it was just getting torn apart. Like I could not find anything good. And I was like, this is worse than when I was bored watching it. At least it had a little bit of entertainment value. And then when I actually watched it, I was like, no.
Yeah, it's amazing when there are movies that you've seen, but you've never sat and watched, and then
And evaluated them.
And when you do, it's amazing how movies you thought you liked. When we did Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I thought I liked that movie. I sat and watched it and I hate it.
There have been movies where Jason has suggested it and then canceled it before we even got to record the episode.
Yeah,
That's how
it's like
badly
so
some of them
bad.
changed.
So a 2.5, Darth.
For similar reasons to Michael's, I did see this movie a couple years ago with my cousin Bart, and we are always looking for silly, trashy movies to watch together. And for that reason, it was more fun and more entertaining because we were sitting there just, counting all the, the silly deaths that happen and the fact that the sharks move at approximately half a mile an hour, except in moments where they don't. But logicking through it with you guys and the actual facts about scuba diving and embolizing and, just the fact that you can't measure the air properly, it made it so much worse. And, all the mention of jailbait pillow fights didn't make it any better, Mr. Brown. So I'm going to go with a 2.
All right.
It got worse?
Yeah.
Was there drinking involved the first time you watched it to help make it better?
No, I was stone cold sober both times. But like I said, it was all entertainment value the first time. And I knew enough about scuba to understand how unrealistic the movie was. But, hearing more and more facts about how terrible this movie really is as far as any sort of logic goes made it worse. And I don't like the fact that John Corbett dies. He's the only character that I actually like. So
That's where their entire budget went.
Yeah.
Was for him.
Yeah.
his salary, yeah,
I'm sure.
undoubtedly.
Yeah.
But so.
It was probably 1/3 him, 1/3 production, 1/3 marketing.
And they spent
Literally.
the remaining $15 on the CGI sharks.
Yeah. And Mr. Brown, any
5.
5? Yeah. Not much else to say.
No. I just love being here with you, but the movie was pretty bad.
Wow, even our presence didn't improve it for him this time, and it usually does. Damn.
I tried. I really tried. I swear to you, I tried. So obviously a straight 5 for me. It commits the cardinal sin of a bad movie. It's boring. If a movie is bad and it's entertaining, it's wonderful. There's nothing better to me than a bad movie that's entertaining. But when it's a bad movie that's boring,
especially when it's that predictable, there were no.
nothing.
The only jump scare was the tetra fish roaring underwater. That was the only one.
Yeah. So definitely a pass. And a straight 5 for me also. So that's all I got, guys. And you guys have any closing thoughts?
I haven't been thinking for the past 2 hours, so deliberately. Nothing to close with.
When you come down, if you think of anything, text us.
Well, why don't we give a shout out to Michael and Sea Ventures?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dive Ventures.
Dive Ventures, excuse me.
Dive Ventures.
Sorry.
It takes a little getting used to, as I imagine it took you.
My apologies.
Only 2 years.
Yeah. Has it been that long?
Yeah, it's been that long.
Oh my God.
June was actually 2 years. We're almost 2.5 years now.
Oh my God. Yeah. So Sea Ventures was the name.
So I wasn't pulling Sea Ventures from out of nowhere.
No. You're absolutely not.
I was like, how did I do that?
No, it was a merger, correct?
Yeah, the old owners wanted to retire, and so they ended up selling over to Dive Ventures, which pretty much is the same business as usual model that we have. And now we get a fancy new name and hopefully a new building and get to go scuba dive. That's what we do.
And if people are interested in reaching out to you about scuba diving, what should they do, Michael?
Ooh, they can head over to diveventures.com and look up Alpharetta, Georgia, and that is where we're located. And you can give us a call at the shop or email me directly, and we'll get you taken care of.
Yes.
All that's on the website.
Seriously, for anybody who's ever thought about it, it is fantastic. Take the dive. Go and do
Try
a try
scuba.
scuba. Yeah, try scuba. You can put a tank on, put a rag in your mouth, and you'll find out it's so natural.
Put a what in your mouth?
Regulator.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought he said a rag.
That's what I heard
Gag ball.
too. I was like, Jesus.
And if you've never gone scuba
Can't-
diving with a Bond villain, you got Michael Drago right here.
Hey.
You do.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, on
Or
that.
Wolfman Jack, I guess. One of the others.
Okay, you said it.
Yeah.
I didn't say it.
Yeah.
I left it up to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you very much for watching this one-off episode. I'm sure we'll be back to doing another one of our dumbass series next week.
We're jumping back into the 90s.
Now we're back in the 90s next week, which is good because I love 90s movies. But make sure to follow us on Twitter or X, as it is now known. We're just called Hindsight on X. And that's where we post pretty much everything we make and a lot of other stuff too. We're also on Rumble. There are links on the Twitter feed. You can find pretty much wherever we are. Follow us on the socials. We sincerely appreciate it. Michael, we thank you very much
Thanks for having me.
venturing in here tonight. And other than that, guys, anything else?
No, we just always appreciate you joining us for your drive time, your listening time, your dive time, your brain dead white shark time. We don't care what kind of time. This has been Darth, Adam, Jason, and Michael on Hindsight, and good night.